Good morning, everybody. I hope you're keeping well. It's a Sunday morning. I've got my coffee here as per usual. Welcome back to the channel. And I haven't made a video for a little while, but I'm going to definitely make one this morning. So I've got a good topic which we're going to kind of delve into, and it's something that's not really talked about enough in my opinion, which is about the new kind of rules and regulation around AI content. Now, everybody's using AI now, myself included. You know, I don't know many people that don't use it, to be honest, for different purposes, especially content creation, you know, things like writing copy, you know, through different platforms, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, and so on. But new rules are coming in, and you know, there's good reason for this, and this is why I'm making the video, and we're going to talk about some of the reasons behind this. It's not as, you know, when this AI first came out, you know, everybody was just, you know, bashing out videos, whether it was like a shorts video, a longer form AI video, and there's plenty of those about as well, by the way, on YouTube. People were using AI to make the thumbnails, and yeah, I've done it as well in the past, I don't deny that. But you know, new rules, new regulations are coming in, governments are clamping down on it. Look, there's different reasons for this, you know. Governments, authorities, whatever term you want to use, you know, worried about misleading content. You know, they want the videos to be realistic. They don't want cloned voices, or deep fakes is a big no-no now. You know, it doesn't have to be a pornographic one. It could be, you know, somebody using like a deep fake of like a politician's face to put out a certain message which isn't actually true, and that type of thing. AI generated news, you know, these are some of the things you know, can or have been able to do with AI. Basically what governments are concerned about is things like misinformation, malicious content, financial scams, identity fraud, consumer deception, and so on. Different countries have got different rules and regulations. Now, when I was scrolling through the list of subscribers I have on my channel, I was just kind of taking a bit of time to kind of just look at each one and go in and see how they're doing and stuff like that. And you know, surprisingly, you know, most of them had about sort of 20 subscribers. Some had sort of, I've come across a couple with like, you know, 1,500. You know, the average is maybe sort of 130, 150, something like that. You know, and they've got very kind of limited video content. Maybe it's not totally clear what the channel is about, and some of it's kind of what I call rehashed content. So we've taken a video from somewhere else and done like a bit of a mix with it and stuff. So look, this is like a fascinating subject. I mean, you know, what I'm trying to say in a lovely way is that if you want to grow your YouTube channel, you know, everyone's at different stages on that journey. If you want to, you know, push stuff out to different countries like I do, you know, there's a lot more regulation. You can't just say what you want. Believe me, 100%, I would love to have a rant about, you know, certain things, certain bugbears which kind of, you know, rub me up the wrong way. I'd love to have a total, you know, field day, you know, from that side, but I know that I can't, you see, because, you know, it's all regulated, you know. I mean, just let me clarify that point. Like when I publish this video to YouTube, and this applies to everybody, by the way, YouTube have deployed this like AI which basically scans everything that you say, okay, and you know, it doesn't miss a single word. So if in the middle of a video you decide to slot in like a political message or whatever it might be, or some kind of, you know, bad behavior or bad actors or whatever you want to call it, it will pick that up, you see, and then it will flag the video. So you know, you can't do that. You know, if you've got a very small channel, by that I mean, you know, 10 subscribers, maybe 50 subscribers, and you're not, you know, pushing the content out to different countries and scaling and growing a channel in a professional sense, then you've perhaps got a bit more freedom to, you know, what you want to say. If you want to, you know, make a video and have a rant about the village, or if you want to make a video and have a rant about your employer, you know, I'm not saying those things are plausible or passable, but your video might not get flagged in the same way. That's what I'm trying to say. So when you're running like a professional YouTube channel, with thousands of subscribers and content going out to 17 countries plus and all the rest of it, your content gets scrutinized a lot more. So it's becoming a lot more complicated. It's becoming a lot more nuanced, if that's a good way to put it. So many rules to follow. This list of rules and regulations is emerging all the time, and so the requirements are getting stricter. AI content must now be disclosed. I've got some stuff in front of the screen, but I'm talking freelance mainly. If you make something with AI, so excuse me, if you add some music which is made with AI to a video, or you have like an AI thumbnail, or you've cloned a voice using AI, that has got to be disclosed. Certain countries, different countries have slightly different rules. I know for a fact that like in places like India, the content can't be misleading. You can't, deepfakes is a big no-no in any context whatsoever. You really have to be truthful and honest in what you're saying and the context in which you're saying it, and I think a lot of content falls down because of this. Not my channel, but I'm talking generally. People just putting stuff out there hoping it will fly. Maybe they're using AI to make the videos, maybe they're using AI to make the thumbnails, and to try and get the subscribers. They're exaggerating and making rash, bold claims and stuff, and all this stuff's being scrutinized now by authorities and regulators and Google and stuff. It's a fascinating subject, isn't it? That's why I thought I'd make a video about it. As I said on all videos, I try and make every video different. I don't talk about the same thing all the time, but if you're serious about, everyone's on YouTube for a different reason. Some people are like hobbyists, some people are professional YouTubers, like people like Sam Chewy, a luxury travel expert. Sam Chewy's got 3.89 million or something like that, and the luxury travel expert has got 1.3 million subscribers. Now, I'm somewhere in between that, so I've got like just short of 11,000 subscribers, which is like a respectable, but it's not huge. But at the same time, I'm probably a bit more than a hobbyist, if that makes sense. So I'm somewhere in between that. I would love to be right up there, in the kind of million bracket. There's a YouTuber called Walk with Tim. He's just recently got to 1 million subscribers. It's very hard work. You've got to have the content. You've got to have the strategy. You have to go at it on a kind of full-time basis, pretty much. The idea that you can spend 2 hours every Saturday or Sunday just pushing out a video with AI and getting a few likes and a few subscribes, you're never going to make it. If you want to go at it, you've got to have like a rock solid concrete niche, something which isn't oversaturating. You've got to be able to come at it from a different angle. Now, I do like the marketing SaaS tech vlogs, and I'm trying to weave some luxury travel experiences into the channel gradually. In a couple of months' time, I'm off to Thessalonica in Greece for like several weeks, and I'm going to be like filming some vlogs around like 5-star hotels and stuff. So that's going to be really exciting. But basically, you have to not be doing what everybody else is doing. And I understand why people are kind of deploying AI in automation on a mass scale, because they want to save time. They think, but they can get the results by using AI, perhaps without doing the hard work and without doing the research, without etc, etc, etc. But the whole system is clamping down on this now. So look, as I said, I've got some stuff in front of me. We'll read off the screen a little bit, but not exclusively. So, AI generated news and public information. One area receiving particular attention is content intended to inform the public. If AI generates or substantially creates text about matters of public interest, disclosure obligations may apply under EU rules. So, look, regardless of the country, whether it's like the US, the EU, India, Australia, different countries got different rules, including the UK, by the way. There's a lot more regulation coming in. So does this mean every image needs like a label? Well, not necessarily, it depends. This is one of the biggest misconceptions. Many people think I used Photoshop AI erase tool, so that's not quite the same thing, you know, like the magic eraser, the magic brush thing. Or I generated a background with Adobe Firefly. That doesn't automatically mean every image everywhere must you know, receive like an AI label, but you know, if you've used certain other platforms to actually create the video, or so if you've typed into ChatGPT, create me a thumbnail about XYZ, and it just bashes it out, then you know, you probably almost certainly would need to disclose that because you haven't done it yourself. Yeah, look, there's loads of stuff here. So what about businesses? This affects businesses more than that. Yeah, more than many realize. Too true. Imagine real estate firms, online retailers, insurance companies, banks, recruiters, law firms, healthcare providers, and many more. They all use AI now in different contexts. Okay, for customer service, marketing, product launches, emails, reports, virtual assistants. Yeah, I mean, there's even a Google virtual assistant. It's a huge area. Yeah, there's loads of stuff here. I'm gonna have to kind of, you know, I'm not going to close the video right now, but I'm gonna have to kind of, you know, go through all this and, you know, compact it down into some kind of text which you can, you know, read in your own time, but kind of encompasses it all in a kind of overarching way, because there's so much of it. I mean, you know, literally if I was to read it all out here, I'd be here all day, you know. Sort of. So yeah, I mean, what I would, I've been doing YouTube for 3 years now. Okay, when I started, I had like kind of 19 subscribers in the first 2 weeks, which I thought was like great at the time. Now I've got like, but just under 11,000. You know, yeah, call it 11,000. So it's grown substantially, and I've got to that stage where, you know, I really have to think about, you know, what I say, but you know, whether the content is useful, whether it's truthful, whether it's accurate, whether it's representational. You know, I have to think about, you know, am I using AI to make this content, or, you know, do you see what I mean? You know, and so it's got a lot more complicated, and, you know, there's lots of opportunity to use AI. You know, I'm not saying don't use it at all, but, you know, there is this kind of thing where everyone's tried to jump on the bandwagon to, you know, scale their YouTube channels, and it's becoming more difficult. Google are clamping down on it. Yeah, there was so much stuff here, guys. Literally pages of it. I'm going to have to go through it, not because I don't understand it, but with regard to formatting it in a kind of nicely logical description, and I'll put some links in there as well. Just try and make your content, you know, as human as possible. You know, try and think organically. You know, try and think about, like, instead of taking every idea off AI, you know, whichever AI platform it is, try and think about real life problems. Like, because I do like the SaaS marketing tech vlogs. So if you try and think about like the real life problems which marketers come up against, or, you know, in the digital marketing area and stuff, and just try and put that context into a good video idea. You know, don't what I'm trying to say in a lovely way is, don't rely on AI for, you know, all your video titles, or your video descriptions, or your, you know, your thumbnails, this, that, and the other, because, you know, AI can make mistakes. You know, and AI, you know, has been different depending on which AI model it is. You know, it can suggest things which might not quite be on par, it might not be quite right. So just try and, you know, if you use your actual real mind, real brain, and just think about like real life scenarios, depending on what your niche is. It might be luxury travel, it might be digital marketing like myself. You know, I'm trying to kind of steer the channel slightly more into, to give us a more broader appeal, you know, to be doing stuff like behind the scenes tours, and, you know, hotels and airports and stuff. You know, that's for the future, and that's what I hope to do. But obviously, it's, you know, the marketing is going to stay, but, you know, so I mean, there's a reason I do marketing vlogs, and why I started the channel this way is because, you know, a lot of people try to run before they can walk with these channels, and, you know, they want to be, going off to the Maldives and filming these fantastic vlogs and stuff, which, you know, I don't deny, you know, some YouTubers do really well, like the Luxury Travel Expert, for example. But if you haven't got the subscribers, if you haven't got the skills, if you don't know how to get the subscribers, if you haven't got that kind of track record, and you know, 12 months of views behind you and stuff, you're going to struggle, you know. And you know, you're also going to struggle with things like sponsorships and financially, because, you know, running a YouTube channel takes money and you need to start somewhere. So if you can start somewhere, if I can phrase it this way, you know, with a little bit of humility, you know, start filming vlogs from home, you know, polish up your skills talking on camera. I was talking to a friend about this the other day. Not everybody can do it. I mean, I'm not saying I'm, you know, an ITV newsreader, I'm not perfect, but it does take some practice. Like when I started 3 years ago, you know, I was all over the place, you know, I was like moving all over the camera. But so it does take some practice to, you know, just talk in a kind of natural way. You know, look at the camera. You know, I've got like a viewfinder on mine. You need to make sure you've got the right camera as well. A lot of the younger crowd nowadays, they've got these like DJI 2, DJI 3, Osmo Pocket 3 cameras, which are great for filming out in public. You know, if you're walking around like a shopping centre or a holiday resort or whatever, you know, it's ideal because it's a bit more discreet. It's a smaller camera, and the battery life is a lot longer, and it also charges up, you know, in what, less than half an hour. You can get sort of 60 to 80% charge on it. So yeah, these cameras are great, but maybe they're not great for filming the vlogs at home. So you've got to make sure you got the right bit of kit. You've got to start somewhere, guys, girls, you know. You know, and if you haven't even got your first 250 subscribers, you need to be, you know, looking at your niche, looking at what you're doing, and, you know, basically putting out a video at least maybe 2-3 times a month, you know. And the only way you're going to do that successfully is to, you know, initially when you're starting out, is to film these videos from home, you know, with a good camera, with a viewfinder, you know. I've got a tripod and all the rest of it, you know, that's why it's still at the moment. But just make sure you got the right camera, do a bit of research into it. I use a Sony. But yeah, you'll find it a lot more cost effective to make the videos like that, you know, because if you're having to go off to like different places like London and Birmingham and Amsterdam and, you know, Delhi and, you know, Milan and Madrid and stuff like that, it costs money. So, you know, if you don't have the money, you need sponsors, and nobody's going to sponsor your channel if you've got like 100 subscribers. That's what I'm saying. So start somewhere, you know, kind of refine what your niche is, and, you know, maybe look at just sharpening it up a little bit, because, you know, there's lots of people who make these tech vlogs, but there's probably not that many channels. In fact, I know there's not, like mine, where I kind of address things in a kind of down-to-earth way, in a no-nonsense way. You know, there's lots of tech channels which, you know, come on all brash and blah blah blah, you know, claiming, you know, how you can make 50% more profit in 28 days just by following these 3 simple steps. I don't buy that. You know, I think, you know, marketing is a lot more complicated. It's just a lot more detailed. It's a lot more structured. There's a lot to learn. I mean, you know, although I'm doing some slightly different stuff at the moment, you know, I've been in that sector for like 15 years. You know, there's no way you can learn it in, you know, a week, a month, a year. You know, it's like driving a car. You never stop learning, you know, how to judge distances and speeds and closing speeds and stuff like that. So in the same way with marketing, there's new stuff out all the time, there's new trends. You never stop learning. It's a constant process of refinement. So look, I probably have talked for a little bit too long, but I wanted to make a video today because I haven't made one for a couple of weeks. Do check back, or I will try and make another one within 2 weeks. Just try and keep your content real. You know, start from somewhere. Don't try and be all brash. And you see, people can see. People know if you're talking nonsense. You know, people can see through the spin. You know, so, you know, if you're just trying to, you know, be something you're not, people can see through it. You know, the same is true in real life. You know, whether it's on camera or in real life. So just be yourself. Stay well grounded. Sharpen your niche. And to try and film more videos from home. You know, if you're not that good at speaking on camera. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I've got a lot better at it. Try and polish up your on camera skills, because that's how you're going to get a lot of videos out initially in your first kind of 1 to 2 years, before you hit that kind of 10,000 subscriber mark, and then you can start to look at kind of micro partnerships and small scale sponsorship deals and stuff. So look, I'll shut up, I'll wrap it up there. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you on the next video. Cheers.